You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Center, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is We'll do it live! Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication.
It's over 9,000! My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there. Do a barrel roll. Don't chase me, bro. It's a trap. I'm a firing mama. Time to Hey, Charlie, wake up! Oh, God, oh, man.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to Nerd to Know Bases here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. This week you have me, Kev, and with me is Darragh. How are you doing, Darragh?
Ahoy, how are you?
I am doing good. How's things?
Good, good. Just navigating the interwebs and all the stuff that's happening.
Oh, is it? Oh, interwebs, is it?
Yeah,
because it feels like there is one web that you've kind of really been stuck on.
Oh, of course. Like, here's the thing. It's not only me that's been stuck on this web. It's single-handedly destroyed Sony's entire plan for the next, 10, 15 years.
You say that like I think like Sony has a plan, and I just can't. I know they have movies. I know they have movies coming out, but it doesn't seem of a plan to me. You know, it just seems like, hey, what have we got? What's in the licensing hole?
Well, see, okay. All right, well, I guess we'll start there. So again, yeah. I've now seen Madam Web 3 times. I've seen it twice in IMAX. There were 5 people at the first screening. There were 4 at the other screening. And it's hilarious now. I think I feel a kinship with these people because they're not people seeing it for the first time. It's weird, right? So the movie has the same appeal as The Room. And there's random bits where people just start breaking themselves because it is just so funny and stilted. I think it's genuinely, unironically, I think it is quite possibly the greatest movie ever made. Right.
I don't know. Now, Darragh, I'm going to contest you on one simple point.
Go on.
Have you seen RRR?
I have not, but I've heard amazing things.
Okay, now
I have heard
greatest, the goat of it all. I'm just saying, you're throwing a lot of weight around when RRR is in the room.
Okay, well that's fair. That's fair. Well, no, I mean, okay. I mean, I think this is a modern version of The Room, not to be confused by Room, which is horrific. The Room,
Tommy Wiseau, terrible. Yeah, very upsetting. No,
yeah,
don't watch that with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, no, I made this mistake before, where no, genuinely, where I was talking about The Room to a group of people who haven't seen Tommy Wiseau's The Room, and I was like, oh, it's hilarious, and the looks. I was like, I realized why I was getting the looks, and I was like, no, not
capital
the one,
T, The Room,
not the one about the young one in the basement. No, the really funny movie that makes no sense. So yeah, I just want to be clear with that. No, I think this is people are going to study this movie in years to come. You know, we've submitted a panel about it. I hope we get it, and if we don't, we'll do a special on it when I have sound bites and stuff. It is just when you're watching it, right? It's so fun because I would recommend everyone go and watch it. It's so fun now because people just laugh at the most inappropriate times because the movie is just. Have you seen it yet, Kev?
I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I probably won't. Mostly out of a logistic sense.
Have you watched any the for want of a better word, the nostalgia critic style where they go through the whole movie and talk about it? Have you watched any of those on YouTube?
No.
There are
No,
tons of those, and I would recommend that as well. Right? It's just
if you could send me one that isn't completely grating, I might watch it.
oh well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I watched a really good one of the Amanda the Jedi. I'll actually send you that one. That one's actually pretty funny. And she just kind of went through it. Like, one thing I have to call out was lots of people were like, "Oh, this is horrible," blah blah blah, and I think it is right. It is, but for different reasons. And I think it's okay. Look, why did this movie fail? It failed because it's a movie based in the Spider-Man universe that isn't about Spider-Man. That's one reason. Two, the script makes no sense. The acting is horrific. The editing is awful. It's like an AI made this movie, right? Genuinely, but like that's bad mouthing the AI. You know, it's like it's like someone who's never seen a movie before made this, and I don't know if it's the director's fault. Same writer as Morbius, same writer as Power Rangers, same writer as I don't know how that guy keeps getting work, but like,
well, I mean, obviously he's successful. They put Morbius in theaters twice.
Well, no, I mean, like, have you seen the Power Rangers remake?
No, but I've heard actually surprisingly good things.
No, well, they are wrong. They are wrong. It's just like whatever way this guy, and I don't have his name to hand, but whatever way he writes movies, it's just like he's going, yeah, it's a movie, kinda, and usually it's kind of all right and it's edited okay, but I think like this is a perfect storm of like failure, you know, and it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful movie. Because it crystallizes the worst of like old school superhero movies. Because here's the thing, there's no superheroes in it. That's what's even more ironic. All the girls don't get their superhero costumes at all in the movie. You get to see it as a flash forward. Madam Web, it's funny, right? So Dakota Johnson at the end of it. Most of the movie I can kind of put up, but what completely breaks me is the end of it, right? Where she's in a wheelchair after being crippled by a Pepsi sign. And she has these weird glasses on because she's been blinded by a firework. So she has these ill-fitting glasses on, right, that just make her face look weird. Because they're not even like you know in the original Daredevil movie where he's wearing the glasses because he's blind, and they're nice and tasteful and look cool, you know. Or even in the new Daredevil TV show, these are just, for want of a better word, they're like 3D glasses, right, that she's wearing, and they don't fit her face. And then she's in the wheelchair and she's just sitting there smiling, and you're like, this is just eerie and weird. And then the girls come in, she has like a flash forward, and it's like this big heroic scene, but it's not. It's just very stilted, like, and it's because Dakota Johnson plays the whole movie with this deadpan delivery, like the whole time, where it's like everything she's saying you think is a joke, but it's not. It's just really deadpan, but it could be a joke.
How much of that do you think was like intentional?
I don't know.
That's don't know. I've seen like bits of it, and it's hard to figure out if that was like, if it was intentionally supposed to be aloof or if that woman's collecting a paycheck.
See, that's the thing. I really, really don't know, because either this is like the greatest failure in comic book movie history, or it is a masterwork. And I'm trying to understand it, to be like, was this all on purpose? Because there's just so many weird choices, like the ending, like the editing, like having 3 iconic Spider Women. You know, I know some people like different ones, but just not suit up at all for no reason.
Now, to call it the greatest failure of comic movies forgets about Spawn. No.
At least no. Spawn was okay, and Steel, like, this is even like, Steel is a failure because there was no heart to it. I think this, I genuinely think this was like honest. You know, I think they actually tried to make a movie. They just
failed.
You know, and they failed so comprehensively that it's like, oh, it really is incredible. You know, and like, to put it in perspective, right? They dance around trying to not say Spider-Man for the whole movie. They dance around not saying Peter Parker for the entire movie. It's so weird and so bizarre. And I mean, if you haven't seen it, genuinely, you're doing yourself a disservice.
I probably will. I just don't see myself
for
spending
example,
money on it. You know?
For example, well, I haven't. I have a Cineworld Black Card, right? So it costs me nothing, right? I'll probably go see it another 3 or 4 times. That's the thing.
You're the reason they keep it running in cinemas longer than Poor Things.
Well, it's unfortunate. Poor Things was incredible, but Poor Things we can't even talk about on the radio because reasons.
I desperately wanted to see it, but I missed it. I'm
incredible.
So sick.
It's incredible, but it's not a movie we can even begin to talk about here on the radio for reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't even begin to talk about the movie here for reasons, but it is incredible. Like, legitimately, probably, if it should win all the Oscars, it really should. It is phenomenal. But with Madam Web, I think the reason why I'm so taken by it is because, like, it's an anti-MCU movie. You know, it's like it takes risks. It's different. It's weird. It's bizarre. It makes, you know, it's not offensive. And people are like, oh, you know, I'm like, yeah, but I would much rather watch this than watch anything else in the MCU in the past. I'd rather watch this than anything else since Endgame, or even before it. You know, I said last week to Keen, you know, I'd rather watch this than watch Black Panther, Captain Marvel, even the Marvels. And I like the Marvels, but those movies I never want to watch again. You know, they're nothing.
But this one,
yeah, they weren't bad. You see, this thing, they're not bad movies, but there's no reason to watch them again. There's
no captivating.
Exactly.
Aspect.
You're watching this movie going, oh my God, what is this? You know, I'm just so taken by it. And I can't remember a movie that's done that for years. Even when, and look, we're a big fan of Morbius, right? We love Morbius here for the memes. But the movie itself isn't fun. Like, the last 20 minutes are terrible. The rest of the movie is just weird, but it doesn't have that kind of like captivating quality throughout the whole thing. Madam Web, nothing happens in it. There's no action scenes in it.
Darragh, the past 20 minutes, I've been trying to put my finger on. You reminded me of something. It's you're exactly like, you are Benoit Blanc sitting in the chair being, it's a donut hole. Confounds me, but it captivates me.
No, that's the thing.
It's Benoit Blanc with the cigar sitting in the deck chair.
Look, and obviously I'm not the only one, because, you know, not that I'm starting to recognize people that go to these screenings, but there are 5 to 6 people. And, you know, I've seen it twice in the IMAX, and the IMAX screen is huge. And you can actually just hear, like, I love it, right? It's my best experience in a cinema ever, because you can just hear people going, you know, it's really, like, at certain points in the movie over, like, because it's not like a unified approach where people are like, oh, this is funny. It's an individual experience where you find parts of it funny for different reasons. Will be like The Room, where in like 10 years people show up where, like, barefoot, because for some reason the villain is barefoot. They're going to show up barefoot in suits, right? And they're going to like have like egg rolls, because egg rolls are a big thing in the movie for some reason. And they're going to eat the egg rolls, be barefoot. It's going to be a whole thing. I don't know what it would be. Just
midnight screenings wearing a first responder jacket and ill-fitting sunglasses.
Oh, absolutely. No, yeah, look, it will be like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It'll be like The Room. This is a movie whose time hasn't come yet, but it will. And what I'm saying is, if you have the chance, go and see it, because it is just, chef's kiss. That's what it is. Chef's kiss. It's phenomenal.
It's like you're trying to sell me on the ground floor of crypto.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think that's an unfair analogy, because this movie,
because Madam Web is actually worth something. Is that what you're telling me?
No, it's trash like this doesn't come along all the time. You know, it's like, it's not soulless, because like you have Adam Scott in it, you have Emma Roberts in it for some reason, and you're watching the movie going, what are you doing here? Run away! And they're acting their little heart out, and you're like, this is atrocious. You know, right? So the Leave Insert now has Barbie in it, right? Which, okay, fair enough. This movie should be in it. I'm going to start a campaign that this movie, and I mean it earnestly, because this is like a failure of art in real time. Like Barbie, fair enough, it has Tim. This movie has nothing to say. It exists for no reason other than misguided corporate greed. But despite that, they managed to make this masterwork, this incredible train wreck that I am just besotted by. I'm going to buy this on Blu-ray when it comes out. I'm going to buy the collector's edition when it comes out. I want to shake Dakota Johnson's hand and go, "You are the worst actor I've ever seen on screen, but I'm captivated by you." You know? I don't understand it.
This unnamed writer who we certainly could Google and check, but
no, we're not going to, because that's more effort than was put into this movie into writing.
But you are his biggest fan.
Oh, I just whatever you're doing, if you're not an AI, if you're not an AI text to speech thing or text generative text program, I just wow. Honestly, this is your magnum opus, random person whose name I'm not going to Google. Honestly, look, because here's the thing: it's still in the cinema. I can't believe it's in the cinema still. But if it's still there next week, probably going to see it another 2 times.
Can't, man. Whatever makes you happy.
The movie makes me unbelievably happy, and I don't even know why. It's wonderful.
I'm glad you found this for your own sanity. Honestly, you know what? Let you enjoy this.
You know what? And the funny thing about it is, it has so much cojones, right? Because not only does it like exist for no reason, it sets up a whole unit of sequels. That technically, it sets up 4 sequels, none of which will ever get made. I feel bad for the young ones in it. Well, they're not young; they're like mid-20s, because they have pretty cool costumes and they never wear them. They're just running around in street costumes, dancing to "Toxic" by Britney Spears.
Well, I know one of them is Sydney Sweeney, and considering she is in the highest-grossing rom-com of the past decade right now, she's going to be just fine.
What's that?
Anything but you, anyone but you, something like that.
Oh, apparently,
apparently, it's a rough adaptation of What You Do About Nothing. That's all I've heard about it.
Oh well, okay. I'll actually watch that. That sounds pretty interesting.
But I mean, it's a rom-com, and most rom-coms are kind of just Much Ado About Nothing.
That's a very good point, actually. That's a very good point. But like the thing about it is, it's like, yeah, even still, like she's in that, and she plays a really good like wallflower. You know, wears glasses, so super nerdy, but then takes them off, and it's, you know, the globe is big. Also, for some reason,
dumb. That's for some stupid.
No, it's more dumb that they mentioned once that she does taekwondo. But the thing about it is, right? So the other one like does a little, to see what she'll do, and she does nothing. Obviously, she backs back, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's what I thought." But here's the thing: in the movie, she actually does a reverse turning kick and kicks her man through the window. So I'm like, she actually does do a taekwondo kick at some point. So points.
So somebody on that set, the stunt coordinator, knew taekwondo on that.
Literally. And I'm just like, well, I mean, she does know it, so it's kind of like harsh random friend who for being mean. Like,
so there was somebody on that set that was competent at their job.
See, that's the thing. I think there were an awful lot of competent people in that movie, right? But all the stars just aligned just enough to like skew everything off. Like, it's not like to bring it back to The Room, right? The Room was made by Tommy Wiseau, and I don't know what to call him.
A madman with a mystery fortune.
There you go. I was trying to formulate it, but yeah. So if you read Disaster Artist or seen the movie, I'd recommend reading the book. The book's pretty good. The movie's okay. But yeah, like it was made completely by him, but it still had people competent in their job, like the editors and the crew and all that kind of stuff. And that's very much the case here as well. Like the movie looks okay. It's shot okay. The sound isn't too bad. At certain points, it really is. But if you like, what I'm basically trying to say here is, if it wasn't for the right things being so bizarre at certain points in time, this movie would be nothing. But because it's so weird in the right way, it just becomes spellbinding. Like, there's random spider people in Peru for some reason that's never explained. and they worship the spider, and then are able to get a baby that's just been born through an airport back to America into the foster system. And not only that, Dakota Johnson is able to get on a plane after 9/11 in 2003 while being wanted by everybody, while being hunted by somebody who has CIA technology.
Okay, I knew it was a period piece. I wasn't sure if this was pre or post 9/11.
It is. It's literally 2003.
Oh,
they make a big.
God.
They make a big deal out of it being from 2003 for some reason. They do. They even have a whole thing where they're all dancing to Britney Spears' "Toxic" for some reason, which wasn't out then. And they also have a PSP in it, which wasn't out in 2005. Like, there's some guy playing the PSP in the subway in New York. And it's like, cool, bro. That didn't exist yet.
That's the funny. That is the funniest piece of like just Sony co-brand integration,
because you know that's why they did it. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. But it also means that Sony had to remember that they put out the PSP. I think if you ask a lot of Sony's executives, they will forget.
Well, they didn't. It was 2003. It was like at least 2 to 3 years before it came out. So
that's it. I don't think that's it. Nobody at Sony actually knew when they released it. Like mid 2000s. Yeah, 2003 sounds right.
Yeah, because I was watching. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's really the rewatchability in this is actually incredible, because you miss things and you watch it again. You're like, oh, whoa, okay. So the PSP took me 2 watches to spot. The no shoes thing I didn't notice until the second viewing again, because I watched a video on it and like, this guy walks around with no shoes the whole time. I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, because apparently in the comic books that's what he does, but this character is nothing like the comic books. The ADR as well is something I noticed halfway through the first watch, where it's like, yeah, he's talking and his mouth is not moving. It's, or else his mouth is moving too much and the ADR doesn't match. But here's one that I didn't notice initially, right? So there's a bit in the middle of the movie where they're like, "Oh, this fireworks factory, it's a death trap," and then that's where the movie ends. It ends.
But Darragh, when do they get to the fireworks factory?
At the end, and it blinds and cripples Madam Web for some reason. Because guess what? It's the only movie that has a product placement be not only the end of the movie, but also the thing that basically kills the main villain, but maims the protagonist. Sony is the reason for Madam Web, basically. That's what this movie says.
Gold. Absolute gold.
Wait, did I say Sony or Pepsi? Pepsi, not Sony.
You said Pepsi, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen, man. The way the world's going, by the time this podcast released, Sony could own Pepsi. Who's to say anymore?
Who's to say? You know what, though, right? In all seriousness, and well, no, basically, yeah, I've said, because we are a comedy podcast, but guys, there is no comedy here. There's just wonderment. Here's the thing, right? So you're in a relationship, Kev. If you brought your significant other to this on Valentine's Day, what would have happened?
Oh, I think I'm even struggling at the idea of that she would go through the door in the first place.
Because do you know what happened, right? So news has been breaking on this, because this is not only like, oh, whoa, this movie is wild. It is. It's brilliant. I love it. Go see it. But it's also like done stuff that's never happened before. So in America, apparently, because this released on Valentine's Day, tickets were being cancelled in real time as the reviews are coming out. So there's like video.
Is that like just a uniquely US thing, or can you actually cancel cinema tickets?
Here it depends. It's not as easy, but in America, yeah, you can get your refunds, I think. But in America, that's never happened before. Apparently, this is like a new thing where you can cancel it and then you got the money back. But also as well, coming out of it, Sony have been like, oh, we need to like push back on all this kind of stuff. So they tried the stuff that they normally do, where they blame everybody except themselves on the problem. And it looks like now they're like, yeah, and now they're like, oh wait, we need to kind of pull back on this. So my question to you is here: we have a group chat and we've had some fun about Craven. It's Craven time. But that sounds like, I think Keen, it sounds like you're really hungry. Which
I've definitely felt Craven time. Usually at like 5 p.m. Yeah, no,
exactly. Yeah. So my question to you, Kev, is: do you think Craven will come out, or do you think they're like, nah, look, we'll just We'll just try make another Spider. Like, I don't know why they didn't just make, a Miles Morales movies. Like if they're that desperate for a live action movie, just make Miles Morales or make Spider Gwen or even Amazing Spider-Man 3. Loads of things you could do, but just doing these movies, terrible idea.
It's hard to say, especially with Craven, because that was supposed to come out last year. That is a finished movie.
Yeah, but so was Batgirl. Remember, Batgirl was also a finished movie.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Sony is not Warner Brothers. At least not yet.
Warner Brothers are like, oh no, this trash is staying in there.
Well, that's Warner Brothers have their own litany of problems because they're being looked into legally about the whole Roadrunner movie thing fiasco.
Oh, fair.
So it's hard to say because that's at this point, can Craven actually cost them more money than it would take to release the movie? Because I don't think there's much I don't think there's much exactly brand damage that it can do outside of what's already been done. I could be very wrong. Craven could be a hit for all we know.
No, it won't. No, it won't. No, it won't.
You don't have faith in Aaron Taylor Johnson?
It's going to be atrocious. And it's going to be atrocious. It's just, I don't know. I think, look, the thing of it is, it's like, someone described it. It's kind of like, with Sony and Spider-Man, it's kind of like, when you have a younger sibling, but they own the Xbox. And they're like, we want to do this, and they do something really stupid. And that seems like what Sony are doing. I just don't know why they're like, look, Marvel, just give us half the money that you make, and then you can do what you want. But I don't know. There is one single gleaming light at the end of this tunnel that is supposed to come. I think it's not great this year, maybe next year, maybe after Craven. We do still have Venom 3. That's it. I think the reason why there's not all garbage. There is some gold in them Dar Hills. But the reason why Venom worked was because it's an actual character that had its own run. Like Madam Web, you can get the first edition of Madam Web €50. The first edition in good condition. Right now, I don't think any of this has anything to do with the source material. Venom works because you've got a charismatic actor who's actually giving it socks. That's how that works. No, but the source material, does actually kind of matter. Like Madam Web, the only people that know about Madam Web are me and 4 other people. 4 other people that go to an IMAX. Yeah, exactly. The movie. And the thing about Madam Web is, even when she was brought in, her most famous appearance was in the animated series. And she was a smaller part of a bigger multiversal thing. This is not how you use Madam Web. I'm sorry, it really isn't. But here's what's funny, right? So, again, we don't know this. I'm just kind of going off hearsay, but also, it looks like this is what happened. A lot of these actors that show up in these Sony movies might actually not know the difference between the MCU and these Sony movies. I have heard this. Again, hearsay. Yeah, it's hearsay. We're not saying that's the way it is, folks, because we don't know. But no, but there's been some quotes from Dakota Johnson talking. Yes. I think it's that there was a talk she had with Elizabeth Olsen where she was fully under the impression they were going to be in a very similar movie. And same with Matt Smith. He also he had a talk with Karen Gillan. Yes. So they thought they were going to be in the same universe, but no. And to be fair, there's a lot of people, not listeners to this show, obviously, but there's a lot of people out there going to see these movies, or when these movies come out, they just think, oh, it's all a Spider-Man thing. But that makes it even more confusing because you're like, everyone's sitting there going, not only when are they getting to the fireworks factory, but when Spider-Man showed up. They set themselves, and the thing about it is, the bad guy here is dressed up like an evil Spider-Man, which is not in any of the comics ever. That's not the character. That's not even in the character. But that's one of the main reasons why I want to go see it. I'm like, that's weird. What is going on here? So that was never addressed. Because the thing about it is, he's barefoot the whole time, except when he puts a Spider-Man costume on. And the whole reason why he's barefoot is so he can grip easier. So when he puts the costume on, it's actually harder for him to grip. No one thought this true. But then they did, because they have these really intricate moments, or these really good moments where Dakota Johnson it recreates the Spider-Man climb from the first Spider-Man movie, and then she falls down, and it's genuinely hilarious. I don't know, Kev, but the bottom line with this is, we've submitted the panel for this for an upcoming event. Hopefully we get it. If we get it, we'll announce it. And do come, because we're going to break this down scene by scene. I'll have like the audio and everything then, because we're not done with Madam Web. This is my rosebud, Kev.
Oh yeah, no, you've managed to take up what I can only assume was the majority of the last time and half of this episode. So
what's going to happen?
We're the cane is coming out from the side of the stage here, Darragh.
Look, we're not done yet. That's what I'm saying. We're putting a pin in this, but we're not done. But look, before we move on real quick, have you seen Argyle yet?
No. Once again, logistically getting to a cinema is difficult.
Okay. I will give a quick review, but I want to ask a question on this, right? So there's a conspiracy theory. Again. We don't know. We are quasi making fun of this. But there are two conspiracy theories about this movie. Do you know what they are?
No.
Okay. One is that it's AI generated. Two is that it's ghost written by J.K. Rowling. Which one do you think is more true? And why?
Henry Cavill looked too normal in it for it to be AI generated.
He's
Seems
not
like
in
he
it.
had the right number of hat. Henry Cavill not in that movie?
No, so basically so spoilers, guys. Argyle is a movie about a spy who forgets she's a spy and then writes a series of novels about how she was a spy, and Henry Cavill is actually her.
But he's in the movie.
Yeah, but not really.
Oh, God damn it.
It's like John Cena's in it, but not really.
Why is this? Why is me not knowing this movie homework now?
Here's the thing. I really actually like this movie, and I really liked it not because it was good, but I like Sam Rockwell, and anything he's in is fantastic. So I didn't hate it, but I was shocked that people didn't like it or were like, "Oh my God, this is like terrible or the worst thing ever." It's like, it's not great. No one's going to remember. But I actually really liked it. I'm more kind of taken by the fact there is this conspiracy theory around it. And now what's more crazy is the sequel to this movie is actually the book that they write.
Wait, there's already a sequel in the works?
Yeah, and the book that's out actually isn't the book in the movie. It's the book that's in the book. That's in the movie.
Oh God damn it.
Yeah.
I'm already lost. Man, what day is it? I don't know anymore.
Am I tasting copper?
Yeah, like that's where am I smelling toast? Why is my left arm numb? What's happening?
But I'm gonna leave that hanging there because obviously you haven't seen it. But one thing that did break, and it always breaks after our show, because we take the show on a Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening,
and Wednesday evenings seem to be exactly the time news comes out.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous! About an hour after the show, like, news breaks, and one of the biggest pieces of news that we've had this week broke literally an hour after the show last week, and that is the announcement that the Fantastic Four has finally been cast. What do you think it is?
I think I'm intrigued. I think from the look of it, I think it looks like a very decent cast. I like there's a few things kind of immediately, because it was announced on Valentine's Day, on Madam Web Day.
On Madam Web Day.
The Lord's Day. And it was announced through a really, really nice like illustration of the four of them in a family. And I think, as much as anything, the cast I think actually looks pretty solid. Pedro Pascal playing Mr. Fantastic. Joseph Quinn is playing Johnny Storm. The actress playing Sue Storm the name escapes me, but she's in a bunch of the Mission Impossible movies and is in Hobbs and Shaw, but her name escapes me. And the bear has seeped into just all of modern culture in a way I'm thoroughly into. And Ebon Moss Backrack is playing the Thing. What's his name?
The Thing. Ben Grimm.
Ben Grimm. And I think it, like, again, knowing his performance from The Bear, I think he is going to be a great Thing.
Absolutely. See, I haven't actually seen The Bear yet, but I've heard nothing but good things.
It's incredible. It's easily no Google Sue Storm. I know Jessica Alba was the old Sue Storm. But tell me the new Sue Storm.
But I will have to say the guy who's the main character in The Bear, he's in Ironclaw, and Ironclaw is, oh my god, devastating film, devastating. So he is phenomenal. He plays Kerry Von Erich.
Oh no, yeah. Jeremy Allen White, incredible. Even
Yes.
Moss Backrack, incredible. Ayo Adebiri is a star. The Bear is amazing. Like,
Yeah,
you should absolutely watch The Bear.
I really need to watch it. I just haven't yet, and I know it's so good. Vanessa Kirby is the one you're talking
Vanessa
about.
Kirby.
Actually, that's pretty funny because Kirby came up with the Fantastic Four. No, that works.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Serendipity, you know.
Yeah.
But so the cast
all
looks
attached
good.
in a
I'm
web.
sure
Adam's web.
a whole part of the web. But I think, as much as anything, what it kind of gives me is I think they've announced that like it's going to be a 60s period piece movie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like it's just everything from the style of it to the kind of the semi-future like space suitsy like jumpsuits they're wearing, and like it's in the picture. They've got the little robot helper friend from the 60s comics. I have hope that like it will be a just a very kind of like fun sci-fi romp.
Yeah, what's probably going to happen is they'll probably it will end with a time jump. Obviously, it'll end with them jumping in to modern time.
Oh, big time, yeah.
So it's just about how to get there.
It's so long as like, you know, the movie itself is contained enough in that time period and like actually cohedes to it. Whatever post-credit scene that gets them to like, you know, wherever we are in the universe, fine. But so long as it's a good self-contained movie.
Yeah, it'll probably be like Captain America, I'd say. That's probably how they're going to do it. Similar to the first Captain America. So look, we have 25 minutes left. Because I spent the first half an hour talking about Madam Web.
Well, So I think my kind of like in terms of big news that I think is worth discussion, broke about 2 weeks ago now, but I just haven't been here. Is anime news, right?
Yes.
So we all know Crunchyroll.
Yes.
They're advertising it, right? For the record, Crunchyroll got bought out by Sony years ago. Right? So Crunchyroll, although they give the illusion of a small, scrappy, independent company, they are not. They are big corporate.
Big corporate.
So I think I brought this about a year or two ago that Sony absorbed Funimation, who Funimation were another distributor, and most notably were an in-house dubbing company. Like if you think of like a lot of the most prominent English dubs through like the mid to late 2000s, odds are it was a Funimation dub, like powerhouse in that, and did a lot of like physical and digital distribution, right? So like you could buy like they distributed a lot of physical Blu-rays. They had their own streaming service. You could even like Prime, like buy and download digital copies of shows, right? So Crunchyroll buys Funimation, leaves the service pretty much untouched. That's all there. News came out about 2 weeks ago that Crunchyroll was entirely dissolving Funimation.
That's wild.
Because it was kind of a vestigial limb.
Yeah.
To Crunchyroll, I think they absorbed most of Funimation's streaming catalog had been moved on to Crunchyroll by that point. But the really controversial piece of news on this is that all of the digital files people had bought from Funimation gone.
Oh, okay.
Digital assets are being wiped, and obviously people are not happy.
No, obviously not.
It's really just pushing this idea that a lot of these media companies are trying to hammer in, that buying digitally is not actually owning the piece of media. You're basically renting it for a set cost.
Well, here's the thing.
Because at any moment, that could just vanish.
Well, here's the thing. If that happens...
Oh, piracy is like that point encouraged, because you're like, hey, if you won't sell it to me and will in fact take away the thing I legally bought, yeah, I paid you my money for it. I'm taking it back.
For the record, we don't condone piracy, but all I'm saying is
No, but I condone the obtaining of assets you had already purchased.
This is the thing. It goes back to the whole thing where if you buy the media, you're making a copy of it, and technically that's the way that kind of worked when you were able to like tape on, like record your CD onto a tape or something like that. So that absolutely makes sense. But like, it this is the problem with like non-physical media. It's super handy and it's super available, but the problem is eventually it does get removed. And this has happened, I think, when Netflix would take stuff off and then you're trying to find something. And the reason why streaming was successful is because it was a lot easier to pull up Netflix and watch the thing than to download the thing.
Oh yeah, like that. People were willing to spend the 10 quid a month at the time, like maybe like less, 8 quid a month when Netflix first came out.
Yeah,
that it would cost. Then to like for the convenience, then having to go through the rigmarole of pirating.
Absolutely.
But as we've kind of seen, Netflix have increased their prices pretty extraordinarily and have cracked down on any amount of sharing. Yeah. And that's why we're seeing kind of another rise in piracy these days.
Well, that's the thing, if they keep doing this, particularly now, it's like, well, you're not going to own it. Where you're like, well, why would I give you the money for it? It's a problem that they are going to have to try and solve for. But unfortunately, these when companies or anyone really tries to solve for this, when they don't have the people in mind or the best interest in mind, it's more crackdown and more crackdown. There's ways around everything, and it's silly. This is silly, and that's silly.
And like it's completely silly, and like it's even more difficult considering like we're just seeing a more gradual rollback on companies even releasing physical media.
Yeah, that's
true.
So
like that's
true.
So like it's I'd always encourage people, like if it's something you love and you want to keep it, you should buy a physical edition of it.
And the funny thing about it is the people who actually pirate them or pirated the most actually have the most physical media, which is more fun. Really, when you think about it. But it's weird. I don't know about you, but I've actually I've kind of broken the habit of physical media now with games, where I'd just be like, oh sure, it's more like, oh, I come here putting that disc in, so you're like, oh, I'll just download it, and I think that's something that that these corporations want. But you'll go for the convenience of it, but then they can be like, we're taking it away.
Yeah, for me, it's since I moved recently, I'm not near a game store. Yeah, and even getting things shipped to me is kind of difficult.
Right. So like you're exactly who they're hoping to get here. But then again, I mean, an internet connection and other such ways, there's always ways to sail the high sea. So will we see that happen again? I don't know, but it's always a question we have here on the show, because it can happen very easily.
Well, I mean, some companies are stretching out a bit and broadening their horizons to try and waylay parts of this problem. Right. Especially in the anime sphere.
Okay.
So, we've seen a lot of companies really kind of like dip their toe in this. Like, Netflix have made a huge push. Disney has a surprising amount of anime on it that they like don't advertise, by the way. And like original stuff that like they exclusively have the rights to. Crazy. They just need to actually advertise. But a new dog has entered the streaming wars.
Here comes a new challenger.
So for those that might know it, there's a really, really popular Shonen Jump manga called Kaiju Number 8. I haven't gotten around to reading it myself, but friends of mine who are big into manga like say this is a big one. This is one of Shonen Jump's best ones ongoing. So there's an anime getting produced of Kaiju Number 9. Darragh, guess who has the exclusive streaming rights to the Kaiju Number 9 anime?
Since you've told me, it's unfair for me to say, but
that's fair. We do talk before.
But I am going to say I never would have guessed this. In a million years, I never would have guessed this.
So, Kaiju Number 9, Kaiju Number 8 is going to be streamed exclusively on X. Apparently, Twitter have bought the rights to stream this on their own platform.
Oh,
And the mind boggles. You know? Sometimes you just see something and you think, wow, that's crazy.
it's wild. It makes no sense, but I mean, I guess it does because they're trying to expand out, and there has been certain things that X have these rights for all of a sudden. Look, I don't know why you go on X. I most of the time don't. But it's definitely not to watch
Memes.
anime.
No,
Yeah, memes.
It's
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
I heard like murmurings that they were like branching out and they're like in video streaming and trying to expand on that.
Nothing wrong with that.
That'd be all well and good, except watching any video on Twitter is an awful experience.
It really isn't something I enjoy.
No, like I don't know if you have this similar, but anytime I've tried to watch a video, it takes they're usually no more than like a minute.
Yeah,
they're more often than not they're re-uploaded TikToks for a start.
That's fair.
They take like at least 20 seconds to like load, and that's if the encoding on the video actually works. Sometimes you have to open it and reopen it. And the first like 20 seconds of every video I've watched always starts off in like a real grungy 144p before the encoding finally gets right.
That's the way you want it.
Yeah, real crunchy.
Real crunchy or grungy. Old school YouTube.
Old school YouTube. And it's just and so I'm trying to imagine watching a whole episode of an anime in that format.
I mean, maybe they're going for the old school approach where you have to work for it. Maybe that's what they're trying to do.
The old school Naruto episode 1 of 23, and it's in the actual episode is in the top like corner of a YouTube video, while the rest is like a Windows Movie Maker background.
Exactly, and this is what because look, here's the thing. This is how I'm discovering Demon Slayer. I'm just going to random episodes that are in the cinema. I have no idea what's going on in that. I'm just having a good time.
Darragh, by the way, they're doing it again.
I know. I can't wait. I have my tickets already.
I made sure to Google that, and I was like, "You bet. Are you just releasing more episodes of Demon Slayer in the cinema?" And they were like, "Yeah."
Will Darragh be there with no context? Yeah.
You haven't. That's so funny. Actually, now that I think of it, because you only watched that last Demon Slayer movie.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
And then you haven't. And then you didn't continue to go watch the season that followed it.
No, that's silly.
So you watched the first episode of the current season, and are now going to watch the last 2 episodes with none of the context in between.
Yeah, catch me up. It'll be fine.
I don't think it'll catch you up. I think you're missing the entirety of a season.
That's grand. Look, the recaps are pretty cool.
Fun. That's really funny. I can't wait to hear you talk. I can't wait to hear how you feel about that.
Look, it works for me. Everyone has a good time. You get to watch the movie with people. I think it's an underrated cinema experience.
Again, I think what galled me when I went to see it the first time was that if I had known it was just a preview of like that next season, fine. I would have accepted that. I would have known that they were billing it as a movie.
This is a movie.
Not 3 episodes of an anime, 2 of which I've already seen, with the mid-roll stingers in them. Still, they didn't edit them out.
No, they just kept them in.
No, intro and outro each, but like they just blocked them into Premiere Pro and was like, "Well, job done. That's a movie."
That's it. Let's go get lunch.
Beers on me, boys.
Well, look, here's the thing. I'm looking forward to it. One thing I did miss this week that Blade Runner apparently was in the cinema for like a day. Devastating.
I'd say that would have been good.
It is good. I've seen it in the cinema before. It's awesome.
No, I think next thing I'm probably going to try and get out to see it'll be Dune.
Yes. So Dune is out next week, I think. 2 weeks?
I think so, yeah.
It's kind of sad it took so long for that to actually come out, though.
Yeah, but I mean, now it feels momentous.
It feels momentous anyway. I mean, it's Dune.
That's fair, yeah. Yo, those worms are big.
Yeah.
And it's. I was talking about it with my sister because she was intimidated by like the the intricacies and like the kind of like the convolution of it all with June.
Right.
And I said, I was like, no, don't be, because that first movie is a pretty straight, just like political drama.
Yeah.
You don't need to know, like they might name drop something like the Kwisatz Haderach. You don't need to know what that is.
No, you really don't.
Yep. No, it's bare straightforward. Now, part 2, things are gonna get wild. things are gonna get real trippy, real fast, and fairly messianic.
No, I mean, you didn't make her watch the one from the 80s, did you?
No, I haven't actually seen that myself yet. It's on the back burner. I do want to.
It's wonderful. I went to go see it during COVID when there was no movies out, so it wasn't during COVID, but it was during the time period, and they were showing it in Liffey Valley, and it was in this tiny screen, and 3 people sat down, and 10 minutes later they walked out. They were like, "What is this?"
they caught 3 minutes and was like, "I'm not watching 3.5 hours of this."
I'm done. We're done now. But one thing that actually, some good news that literally broke today, Kev, and I'm like really excited about it. Star Wars Battlefront, the classic collection, has been announced for everything. I
did see that. There was a very short Nintendo partner direct. That's really cool.
It's very cool
because I did see. I think it's like up to 64 people online support.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean,
that was the dream when they first announced like those EA Battlefront games.
Yeah,
that was just kind of all we wanted. I think that's everyone. All we wanted was just those first 2 Battlefront games, just basically them but higher res and online.
That's what everybody wanted. Yeah, that's what everybody wanted, and they just gave us something. Now, don't get me wrong. I do like the second one eventually now because they actually did make that. But this is great because I for the longest time I've actually wanted this to be able to carry around, and you can get it pretty okay on like running it on a hacked Vita, but on the Switch obviously it hasn't been there. It runs terribly emulated on lower powered devices. So on the Steam Deck it works great if you emulate it or if you just play it on Steam. But this is great because it's the 2 of them. It's going to be on everything, and I think it's cross-play as well, so that's even better.
I was wondering that actually. I didn't look that up to see if it was, which that'd be cool because considering they're putting it out on everything.
Yeah. So if they do, that's
really cool.
And it's kind of embarrassing that like EA with all the resources, everyone's like, "Oh, we just want the old one." And if it sells ridiculous amounts of money, they're like, "Oh, we probably should have just done that in the first place."
We should have just done that. Well, EA don't have this anymore. I don't know who's putting this out. Whether or not it's the original publisher just like relicensed, because EA lost the rights after the whole debacle. I know that. Yeah,
I don't think it could be the same company that runs all of these remakes. I think they're called Aspire. That I haven't actually looked it up. I'm not sure, but that did break today, and it actually looks really, really good. Like the version I've been playing for years has actually been the modded version with like Knights of the Republic characters like modded into it, and there's loads of really cool PC mods that you can get for this as well. But I don't know. I will be interested to see if mod support is here because it probably will be. But then again, it already kind of is if you have it on Steam. So this is more console things that I don't really think you can mod stuff on consoles that easily.
No, not very well. They don't. Yeah, they don't really allow for it. There's a few actually. Funnily enough, now that say because as I said, there was a small Nintendo Direct earlier. There's a few like re-releases coming out that I'm actually pretty stoked about.
It is. It is Aspire. They're the ones that are doing it.
Cool. Because there's Battlefront. They're porting. What's Epic Mickey? There's a remake.
Oh, very good.
To the Switch, which
very, very
is
good.
One I missed and looked like a blast of a platformer. So that's me.
Very good.
And then one I am so happy is actually happening. I wasn't actually expecting it. Not Nintendo now, but did you know about Hi-Fi Rush?
I know of it.
It's the kind of the action platformer.
Yeah.
The action platformer that stealth dropped day of like a year ago, exclusive to Xbox. It's a rock and roll rhythm like based action platformer. Directed by Shinji Mikami, who made Resident Evil.
Okay, that is bizarre.
It looks so good, and it was exclusively Xbox. I thought it was like, one of these days I might get a cheap Xbox and pick that up and a couple of other things. But no, thankfully that is getting ported to PS5.
Well,
and I just that's gonna be a day one because it looks like exactly my jam.
that's fantastic. Like it's great that these consoles seem to be getting what people want. And I mean, I know we're coming up the time now, but like I literally just bought Persona 3 and 4, and I've never played Persona before, so I'm really looking forward to it.
3 and 4. That's really interesting. That's okay.
That was the bundle. That was the bundle.
Oh, okay, right. If I were you, I would start with 4.
Okay.
I think Persona is one of those series where it developed over time much better. And I think you're going to have a better time in one of the more modern ones and then going back.
Right, so start with 4 first.
Start with 4. Because I started with 5, went back to 4, found it really easy. I haven't played 3 yet, but I know 3 has some pretty archaic game design.
Okay. Well, I got the 2 of them for like €24.
Bargain.
So that
easily pay. That great deal. 4 is worth that on its own.
Oh well, okay. Well, look, I'm looking forward to it. I've always heard it's a really, really cool series. I played the crossover with Blue Blade and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, this actually looks pretty cool. So when it came up, I was like, yeah, I'll pick this up, and I said, okay. I looked up online which one to go for, and they said either go for 4 or 5. So I wasn't sure. Yeah. But they said 3 is really good too, but apparently it is quite archaic.
I'll put it this way: the only character you control in 3 is is the main character. All the other party members are AI based.
Oh,
AI is not great.
Oh, that's not fun. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, look, we're gonna leave it there because we are at time. Kev, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, I think we're good. As always, I think I'll plug the show. You can find all of our socials and all of our links on nerdtoknowmedia.com. There also, you can, of course, find our Patreon if you like what we do and want to throw us a few bucks.
Absolutely. And also, if you want to book us for any Comic-Cons, please do reach out as well. And we should be back doing conventions soon because we kind of fell out of the habit of like applying for them, and now we're actually trying again. So hopefully we'll be at them soon.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next week. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.